Hi there. In this video, we'll learn about layers. Layers play a vital role in maintaining organization, control, and efficiency in your design process. So let's learn how they work in Adobe Illustrator. I have this new document opened, and by default, it has taken the first layer, as you can see here. I'm going to add an element, so let's make a rectangle in this layer. Let's also add some text, so I'm going to write layer 1. Let's center align it and increase the font size. Now, when you click this small arrow, which is a drop down, you'll find the two elements sitting there. One is the rectangle and the other is the text. So basically, each layer is like a container that can hold various objects, shapes, text, or other design elements, and they show up here. To select an element, you can either click the element, like most of us usually do, or you can even click this tiny circle here, and that element will get selected. This option is really helpful, particularly when you have hundreds of elements in your document and when you inflate your layer and can't figure out which element corresponds to the particular item. Just click it, and the selected item is the one corresponding to that item in the list. Now let's create another layer, and by default, it is named Layer 2. Let's click and drag it to the bottom. I'm going to add similar elements to this layer as well. So let's add a rectangle and then add another color to it. Let's also add the text layer 2. When I select the elements of layer 2 and drag them on top of the elements of layer 1, see what happens. The layer 2 elements are not enveloping the elements of layer 1. Rather, they hide under layer 1. So remember that objects in higher layers always appear in front of objects in lower layers. So when you're designing, you may need to stack your layers accordingly. Next important thing about layers, and this is where a lot of experienced people go wrong as well, is let's say you have your layer 2 selected from the layers panel. Now, the moment you click any of the elements of layer 1, knowingly or unknowingly, you've just changed your selection to layer 1. So perhaps after investing a few minutes or hours and adding tons of elements, you realize that you are working on layer 1 when you actually wanted to work on layer 2. I still make this mistake and feel like banging my head against the wall when I do it. And it's not that it cannot be fixed, but it's just that it kills time and adds your workload. To fix this problem, what we can do is, you see this space just next to the eye icon. Click it once and a lock icon will be sitting here, meaning that the layer is now locked. So when you try clicking any of the elements of layer 1, you will not be able to do so until you click the lock icon again to unlock it. So it's a toggle switch. Now when you try selecting any of the layer 1 elements, you should be able to do so. Now, when you press Command on a Mac or Control on a PC and click the eye icon, look at what happens. The layer switches to outline mode, which displays your artwork as wireframes or outlines, showing only the parts and shapes without their fills and strokes. This view is useful for examining the underlying structure of your artwork and making precise edits to anchor points and parts. Pressing the same keyboard shortcut again will switch the layer back to the normal preview mode. Now let's say I want only layer 2 to be unlocked and rest of the layers to be locked. Although I just have 2 layers at the moment, but even if I had more than 2 layers, this feature will come in handy. Press Command on a Mac or Control on a PC and click the empty space right next to the eye icon. You'll find the layer you clicked is the only active, rather unlocked layer, and the rest of the layers will be locked. Use the same shortcut to unlock all the layers. And I'm sure you know how to lock a particular layer without affecting the rest. Just click it, and it shall be locked. Click it again, and it shall be unlocked. Next, let's see how we can move a particular element from one layer to another. First of all, click the element you want to move to the other layer. You'll find the color dot appearing right next to the small circle, which means that this element is selected. Now click the dot, in this case the red dot, hold the mouse key, and just drag it to the layer you want it to sit in, and it shall move. If I expand this layer, you can find the moved element sitting here. To move it back to its original layer, click the blue dot now, and move it back to the original layer. By the way, the red and blue dots are layer colors. Layer colors in Adobe Illustrator are used primarily for organizational purposes and workflow efficiency. They help designers manage complex projects more effectively by providing visual cues and enhancing the structure of their artwork. Let me add a third layer now, and let's drag it to the bottom of the hierarchy. Let's also add another rectangle and change the color. I'm not going to add the text to this layer. I'd rather copy the text from another layer. So I am going to select the text of layer 2 by clicking the text element in the Layers panel. Hold Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC, and then click the green dot of the text layer. Hold the mouse key, at which point you should be able to see a small plus sign next to the cursor, and drag it to layer 3, and voila! The text has moved to the new layer, but why do we not see it on the screen? It's because the text, although got copied from layer 2 to layer 3, but the copy is by default sitting at the back of the stack. Let's check if it's there. And how do we check that? Hold Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC and click the eye icon of the layer you want to isolate so that the rest of them go invisible. And there you can find the text element hiding underneath. So, although it is in layer 3, the position of this element hasn't moved because it was a copy, remember? So I'm going to click the text and move it to where I want it. Now I'll once again hit Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC and click the eye icon of layer 3 to reveal all the layers. So it's a toggle switch. Remember, just a while ago I told you that to switch a layer to the outline mode you need to hold Command on a Mac or Control on a PC and click the eye icon. But what if I want only one layer to be in the normal mode and the rest I want to see in the outline mode? For that, hold Option and Command on a Mac or Alt and Control on a PC and click the eye icon of the layer, and you shall find the rest of the layers in outline mode. It's a toggle switch, so using the same shortcut can get the normal view back. To create a sublayer, all you need to do is click this icon and a new sublayer will be added to the layer that was selected at the time of clicking. Sublayers are added to further organize the content on that layer. So basically, they are a way to group related objects or elements within a layer and allow you to maintain hierarchy and structure within a single layer. If you click the burger menu, you'll find most of the options we've discussed already, and there are some we'll talk about in future tutorials. One thing I missed was how to delete a layer. With the layer selected, either you can select this option here, or click the trash icon at the bottom right corner of the Layers panel, and the layer shall be gone. Finally, to rename a layer, double-click the layer that will reveal this pop-up, and then you can give your layer any name of your choice. Here you can also color-code your layer, like I mentioned earlier. Layer colors are used primarily for organizational purposes and workflow efficiency. So right now, the color of this layer is green, and I'm going to change it to some other color and hit OK. And the color of that layer will instantly change. Let me add another layer to show you something. Now I'm going to add an image to this layer. Now let's say I'm planning to trace this image. So it would be easier to change the transparency of this image in the view. So let's double click the layer once again. Now check the Dim Image To option. By default, mine is set to 50% and I'm fine with it. although you can always change the transparency as per your choice, and hit OK. You'll find that the image transparency is dimmed and it becomes easier for you to trace the image. So I am going to lock this layer so that I don't accidentally trace on this layer. Add another layer on top of this one. Pick the pen tool, and you'll find how easy it becomes to trace the image now. This was just to show the benefit of the dim feature, but don't worry, we'll learn how to use the pen tool and trace in one of the later tutorials. So guys, that's all about layers in Adobe Illustrator. The next tutorial is going to be about creating some basic shapes. So don't miss it, because shapes are fundamental elements in design and have significant importance in graphic design and illustration. So see you soon. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.